Good evening, everyone. My name is Kate Dobinson. I am the co-supervisor of Health and PE, as well as the athletic director for High School South and Grover Middle School. I want to thank you all for coming tonight to hear about the benefits of youth sports. We've got a great parent university set up for you tonight with several alumni from the West Windsor-Plainsboro Regional School District, as well as members from our youth sports program. We're going to take a minute to go through our introductions. I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Jeff Riley, as I get the presentation ready to be presented. Jeff?
Good evening. My name is Jeff Riley. I'm the athletic director at West Windsor-Plainsboro North, and I am the co-supervisor of health and physical education with Kate Dobinson. We're very proud to have a great panel of alumni and supporting individuals, and I'd like to pass off to Heather Cianchetti. She's going to introduce herself. And Heather, go ahead.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. My name is Heather Cianchetti. I am the current president of West Windsor Little League. I became involved in youth sports with my sons, who started playing Little League at the age of 4. They're now 11 and 9. And I took an active role in the organization, as I'm really passionate about the program and about bringing youth sports to our community. So I'm excited for this panel tonight. I'm going to hand it over to Ben Ruda.
Hello, my name is Ben Ruda. I played all sorts of youth sports in West Windsor, grew up in West Windsor, went to high school south, played baseball in college at Wagner, and ended up playing professionally for the Yankees and Padres. So I got a lot of experience in all sorts of levels of sports and got a lot of good things to say about the benefits of sports in general. So that's my background, and I don't know who's next, but I'm passing it off to somebody.
Sam Singh. How about Sam Singh, if you don't mind introducing yourself? Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, I'm Samrat Singh, and I grew up in West Windsor as well. I started playing t-ball when I was 6, and I also played a bunch of other sports. I was in rec basketball and whatnot, but baseball is what I was good at, so stuck with that. I played all throughout growing up. I did all-stars every year, and then in high school I was on JV freshman year, and then varsity the last 3 years of high school, and then was fortunate enough to play at Boston College. So unlike Ben, I didn't get drafted or anything like that, but I'm working. If you couldn't tell by the college shirt, but yeah, that's my story.
Thank you, Sam. Allie Rome, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Allie. I'm a current junior at Carnegie Mellon University, where I play softball. I've played Little League my whole life, probably from the age of 5, and that's where I had the pleasure of meeting Pri, actually. And then I played softball at South for 4 years. So super excited to be here tonight and talk about some of the benefits that the sport has had on, my personal life and kind of my education. But I can pass that off to Pri then if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, hi, my name is Priyanka Kaul, or Pri, like Ali said. I grew up in Plainsboro. I started playing with, I think, Cranberry Plainsboro Little League at the age of 5. Played mostly softball growing up. I played a little bit of basketball and volleyball. But then in high school, I was on the softball team with Ali, and now I'm a junior at Harvard, playing softball here too. And it's just been completely the best part of my experience in college and throughout high school too. So thank you, Ali, for inviting me to this, and I'm super excited to talk more about youth sports.
Caroline Redmond, do you mind introducing yourself? Thank you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Redmond, formerly Deacon when I attended the WWPSA school district. I grew up in West Windsor. I played both soccer and softball growing up, as well a little bit of lacrosse. Took place playing varsity. I ended up playing varsity soccer in high school. I guess we were technically the first class that graduated as South. So dating myself a little bit for those who know the history of the North versus South. Today, I am a managing director at a firm called CIFC Asset Management, where I'm running investor relations. Prior to that, I went to Villanova and I played club soccer there, where I was the captain of the club team. One of the things I thought I'd talk about today is just how as an employer, I feel like sports and youth sports really, that's the type of employees that I look for when I'm trying to hire new employees. And I'm excited to talk about youth sports in my experience. And I guess I'm representing WWPSA as I'm currently the travel director. So kind of going full circle back to where I started. Vincenzo, I think I'll kick it up to you.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vincenzo Pugliese. Grew up playing soccer in West Windsor, attended WWP North, went on to play college soccer in Rutgers, and then spent some time in Europe playing professionally. I now coach. I coach at Match Fit Academy as well as surf in WWPSA, and I'm the varsity coach over at Petty, and excited to be here and answer any questions.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Ryan Barna. Please introduce himself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I apologize I'm not able to be on camera this evening, but I am the current WPSA president. I have two small children who participate in soccer here through the WPSA program and surf. They also play in West Windsor Little League, and looking forward to having a discussion on how the sports can help shape the student athlete to allow them to be successful in school and then beyond in the workplace. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for taking time to introduce yourselves tonight. Our program is going to take us through some information about just the benefits of youth sports programs that Jeff and I are going to go through. And then we're going to have a chance to talk to our panelists. And at the end, they'll be able to share some of the opportunities that your students can get involved with within West Windsor-Plainsboro.
Okay, first, the health benefits of physical activity for our youth in America. Regular physical activity benefits in many ways. Helps builds and maintains bones, muscles, and joints, and preventing or delaying any forms of high blood pressure. Exercise is one of the least expensive ways to stay healthy, and it reduces, the different types of cancers that potentially develop later in life through developing healthy habits and being physically active to ensure a healthy, active lifestyle going forward. It's important that we start at a very young age, because that's the time when we start learning these habits and we make them a regular part of our daily living. And so, physical activity, as I, put in my own email signature, you're one workout away from a good mood, and it's going to help you immensely going forward. Okay.
So just some information about the lifelong impacts of early physical activity. Adolescents who play sports are 8 times more likely to be active at the age of 24 years of age. So when we're looking at their post-high school, post-college, wherever they're going after they leave us, from the high school and graduate on, they're more likely to continue to be active. It's going to set them up for different social skills as they start to forge different relationships. But just as Jeff had previously mentioned, the health benefits as far as disease prevention is huge when you're looking at getting students involved. 3 and 4 or 77% of adults age 30 and up who play sports today played sports as school-age children. So we all know those weekend warriors who are out there doing pickup soccer or playing flag football or pickleball. All of those healthy habits and behaviors started within their youth. It starts within their engagement within their physical education program, but also taking it outside of school and getting involved in different extracurricular youth sports activities. Only 3% of adults who play sports currently did not play when they were younger. So there's a big correlation between the early onset of physical activity, of physical healthy habits and behaviors, and being able to continue on with that in life. So those are some brief statistics.
The educational benefits, it's pretty obvious that, we all learn better after physical activity, and after being active, we're able to, focus more and be able to really learn better. And, we see that in our elementary schools, as a person that's worked in one for over 20 years, children are, the better suited to learn once they've been outside being physically active. They're able to come back in, settle in, and learn better. Studies have shown that activity in sports helps children develop and improve cognitive skills. Physical activity in general is associated with improved academic achievement, including grades and standardized test scores. Physical activity can affect attitudes and academic behavior, including enhanced concentration, attention, and improved classroom behavior. Like I said, we have seen it over the years. Our students learn better when they're physically active, and it's important that they take that a priority in their lives, and that when they're able to do that, they're able to focus more and learn better in the classroom as well as on their own time as well.
Just continuing on those educational benefits, high school athletes are more likely than non-athletes to attend colleges and get degrees. Team captains and most valuable players achieve in school even at a higher rate. High school athletes are more likely to expect to graduate from a four-year college compared to non-athletes. And a higher percentage of high school athletes also receive A- grades than non-athletes. And I really think that that speaks to the some of the skills that you learn outside of the classroom by participating in youth sports. You're going to be learning time management, just those different kind of coping strategies, as well as we talk about the decreased chances of developing anxiety and depression that can lead into having more success within the classroom. I'm a firm believer that every student is going to have their own journey. So I think, you can replace college with professional life outside of high school or post high school, because everyone's going to have a different kind of journey as they move forward.
Studies have shown that the social emotional benefits of exercise, it's a good remedy for overall mental health and well-being. Students who are physically active reported more excitement, happiness, and motivation, and those who are inactive reported greater nervousness, anxiety, worry, and depression. Youth sports who play, or youth who play in organized sport or physically active, have better mental health, although differences were minimal compared to any form of physical activity. So being involved in physical activity and being involved in youth sports is a good way to get out your emotions and to make yourself feel better and feel more connected within a group, and to overall, improve your own, mental well-being. So, it hits all our different areas of our, overall personal health, and especially for, the mental health of our youth.
There we go. So the graphic that we have now, really looks at physically active students and children. But if you follow the arrow kind of around, it also goes into active parents. So we really encourage not only for our students to be active, but we also encourage our families to be active, and our caregivers and our guardians and our parents, because you are the role model that is setting your student up for success, especially when you're looking at a lifetime of healthy habits and being active. Individuals, who are active as a family, they're more productive at work. There's less likeliness of substance abuse, higher test scores as we're looking at students. And all along, if you follow that continuum, it's going to decrease the compression of morbidity. You're decreasing the risk of certain diseases. And it also kind of creates a great outlet and connection for parents and caregivers to their students. Finding an activity that you as a family can get involved in can have huge benefits as well.
And a great takeaway from youth sports, or from the experience of participating in youth sports, is the soft skills you develop. Soft skills are personal attributes that allow people to build positive social relationships. Team sports are an excellent source of soft skills development, as they allow athletes to grow within a supportive environment. And here on this slide are just a few examples of these skills that are fostered through team sports. Communication skills, while not be as obvious as sitting down and discussing as a group, team sports take a lot of communication, both spoken and unspoken. Communication skills are key in maintaining A functioning sports team was listening to locker room pep talks, picking up nonverbal cues given by other players, or expressing a thought during a post-game debrief. Teamwork, it's an obvious one. Teamwork is all about collaborating with others to reach a common goal. And the diverse pairing of personalities and scenarios will help your athlete become adaptable, persistent, and patient. Team sports also teach a sense of group and individual responsibility. And then lastly, building self-esteem and sense of community. Team sports provide athletes with a natural community, and a report from True Sports says that youth who play sports have higher levels of social support, and that the sense of community created with teammates, coaches, and family members creates the perfect setting for critical self-esteem development. So soft skills translate to later in life when they are, going off to college or becoming an adult and going off into the real world and using those skills towards their profession or day-to-day healthy living.
All right. So those are just some of the information, that we wanted to provide to all of our attendees. Just, when Jeff and I are looking at why we do what we do, it's because we truly believe in the value of youth sports, of education-based athletics, of being able to provide all of our students with different opportunities so that they can find success. And that success is going to look different depending on what people's main goals are in life and different things like that. So, many people have heard us talk at length and within the program of studies or different athletic events of why we do what we do. But there's also a group of individuals within the community who share that passion with us. So we're now going to be able to go through and have some Q&A. You are able to post in the chat. We will be monitoring it as best as we can. Should you have questions specific to athletic registration, I would just ask that you reach out to your direct athletic director, and they will be able to assist you with those questions. So we've got some questions that are available for our panelists, and then should time permit, we'll also be looking at the chat as well. So the first question that we are going to kind of go through, and we would like all panelists, be able to kind of answer the questions, and feel free to jump in. What are the health, social, and emotional benefits that you have either gained by being a part of youth sports, or you've seen students who you've worked with within the youth sports setting be able to gain?
I can jump in here. For me, I have 2 young children, and the one nice thing about youth sports is that there's practice, there's things going on. So I find that, my kids and their friends, they gravitate to screens. And when you have sports and they're outside, you're having a natural play date with your friends, right? You're getting out there. So you can see that, from their end, their behavior is just so much better. And I think that talks to some of the slides that we saw earlier. They're getting outside, they're running around, they're getting exercise. So I've seen a huge impact in my own kids. For me as a athlete, on the social side, some of my best friends still from this day are those who I played WWPSA soccer with when I was 10 years old. So you create lifelong friendships too, which have kind of seen everything. So, those are just some of the benefits that I personally have seen for my kids, for the kids in the community, and myself.
Nice. I can jump in, kind of add on to that too. I think it's pretty obvious that when you play youth sports or any sports in general, like, you are gonna definitely get friends from it. But another big benefit of just being on a team, I think, is just learning how to actually be on a team, because whether you work for like a small company when you get out of college or a huge Fortune 500 company, there's no doubt that you are going to be working with some sort of team somewhere. And there's just dynamics to that that you just kind of inherently learn when you do play sports. And it's actually going to make like your professional life a lot better. It's going to make when you do group work in college, in high school, it's going to make all these things better. And you'll actually, in my opinion, be able to kind of enhance your career. Whether for me, I had a career in sports. That doesn't happen very often, but I have now transitioned out of sports just recently, and I find myself like using the same exact things that I used when I played sports. Um, and I just think that that's pretty valuable. So that's what I got.
So Ben, can you go into a little bit more about the skills that you got from the soft skills that you got from playing youth sports and how you were able to translate that? What specific skills are you talking about?
So like there's there's just things you pick up about people, and and not everyone's always going to be having a good day all the time, right? Like when you're at work, when I was playing baseball, there's always emotions. Everyone's human beings. And kind of that getting a feel for the social side of being on a team can really enhance your day, in my opinion, and kind of being able to get productivity out of your teammates or people at work and being able to be the most productive yourself by just reading situations. And the more you play sports, I think the more situations you're exposed to. And I just think that is kind of something that takes practice. If you're never on a team, you don't really know. When you first get on a team, you're going to face things that you haven't faced before. And I just think that's invaluable because you'll pretty much be, if you don't join a team when you're young, eventually you're going to be on one somewhere. So you might as well start it now and kind of just like cultivating some skills and some life experience. And obviously you're going to get the friends that come with it too, which is great. I mean, just like Caroline said before, I still have some of my best friends from all different sorts of teams I played on. So I think all those things are good.
Yeah, if I can also, add a little color as well, maybe drill a little bit further down on what Ben's saying. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly on what Ben's saying, but in terms of naming the soft skills, it might be, and I think Kate also touched on this earlier, time management's a huge one. I think when you are a kid and you're in youth sports, it's very much so a regimented day. You go to, you wake up, go to class, you come back, you go to practice, you do your homework, and then that's pretty much your day as a kid. And as you grow older, I think only really college is kind of a different area where your schedule might lighten up a little bit. But when you get back into the working world, it's work same hours you were in high school for, or you were in K through 12 for. So it's it helps you really manage your time and manage your day in a way that maybe others might not, right? Like others might not have that kind of regimented approach to how they iterate through tasks. Another one might be uh, in terms of a soft skill is definitely dealing with a tough situation or adversity, right? When you're in youth sports, obviously, especially when you're younger, right, that will stimulate a lot of emotions. You'll deal with loss and you'll deal with winning. You'll learn how to do both of those in a gracious manner, right? And when you're able to get through those kind of obstacles, you're able to put a lot of things in perspective, right? Say a work deliverable is getting late, you're kind of under the clock, whatever it might be. You already have a wealth of experience to draw on where you've already overcome that. You've already gotten through that problem, and this is just another application of something you had learned when you were young.
Those are some great examples, Sam. Thank you. All
Well,
right.
I'll jump. I don't know. No one was jumping in, so I'll jump in quickly from a mom perspective, as well as, you know, seeing kids in the Little League, I think one of the things that I've seen from all the kids is empathy. You know, I see these kids go out on the field and they are learning how to be kind to one another. They're learning how to handle loss. They're learning how to respect coaches and umpires, and they're rooting for each other. And sometimes, and I see this a lot, they're rooting for the other team. You know, when a kid gets up there that might be struggling, you know, you see, it's amazing. You see other kids who are playing against them get excited for a kid who finally made a hit, or who finally struck someone out, or who made an amazing catch. And it's really so empowering as a mom to watch your children and watch their friends grow into these kind people, you know, and really become better people. And I think that's really a huge thing that my children, and I think their friends that I've seen grow up and continue to grow up, have had.
Ali and Priya, can you talk about your experience at High School South and how that has, you know, set you up for success within your universities, since I believe you are the two that are currently in school?
Yeah, do you mind if I piggyback on that too for a second?
Sure.
Do you mind also sharing like how those opportunities were created for you to go to such fine institutions as well? So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think like something too that was sort of touched upon but not explicitly mentioned is like at South or in Little League, you meet such a diverse group of people on a team. And I think that's like the most special part is I met people and became friends with people that I normally would not, you know, be friends with or interface with on a day-to-day like interaction. So I think just being able to build those skills and playing at South has been able to kind of translate into my college team and be able to handle like a very diverse group of people. And as well as that, like I know Pri and I both took up leadership positions at South on our team. And I think those have really translated into whether it's just like a group project for one of my classes, or now like I'm a captain of my university team, which has been an incredible experience. But I definitely would not have been equipped for that if I hadn't had like my experience of playing at South and, you know, getting to be friends and learning from such a diverse group of women. And then kind of going on Coach Riley's question, the opportunity was kind of twofold. So I had Little League, and then also I was a part of like a travel ball program. So there's definitely like a focus when you get to high school to just like really work hard and want to continue that at the next level. And I knew that was something for me. It was a sport I was really passionate about. It created endless opportunities for me. And I loved, you know, I think Sam touched on it a little bit, but the structure of sports. And I realized that like as I was playing, I was doing better in my classes. So I went through the recruiting process and just found a really great fit for me. And that's manifested so well into like my collegiate career. I don't know if Pri can speak to this, but like my best grades are like typically when I'm in season because I'm so structured. I have to get my work done. I know exactly what I need to do. So I think just being able to kind of build that structure from a young age, get involved in all these different activities and meet like a very wide range of people has one, set me up with a lot of soft skills, and two, allowed me to continue at the collegiate level. Pri, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, I thought that was an amazing answer. I definitely agree with especially the first part of what you were saying about how softball allowed you to meet like a very diverse group of people and allowed you to like become friends with people that you never would have originally. I think I feel that a lot on my college team too. I mean, my college team brings together people from Southern California, Ohio, New Jersey, all around the country. And it's funny because we all have such different personalities and such different backgrounds, but it works really well together. And I think that's a really invaluable soft skill that sports has taught me, is to be able to be thrown into a team with a bunch of random people that you may not necessarily like or you may not necessarily know very well, and to still have to pursue a common goal together and work together and find ways to resolve conflict. I think that's a huge, huge part of it for me. But in terms of like my recruiting process and playing softball at South, I think it was an amazing experience for both Ali and I. Obviously, we lost some time due to COVID. But yeah, my recruiting process was kind of similar. I was also on a travel team, which I started in about like 5th, 6th grade being on a travel team. And then once I got to high school, definitely the focus shifted to college recruiting and wanting to play in college and just continue playing softball as long as possible. So yeah, just contacted coaches, emailing them, getting them to come to watch our games was a huge part of it. And then I ended up committing, and I was like super happy with my choice. But yeah, just I think playing all throughout South, I think gave me a very regimented schedule. I was very motivated academically, and I think we're really lucky to have gone to a school district that was amazing academically. I mean, I talk about it all the time here with people I met. I'm like, you have no idea what my public school is like. Like everyone was super smart, everyone was super motivated, and I'm super grateful that I was able to pursue academics to both academics and athletics to the highest degree.
I think the one last thing I would want to just bolster on something Priyanka said was, you have to get along with people you don't like.
Yeah.
And, you know, like that's huge, right? I have a lot of friends from baseball, you know, I have a lot of great memories, right? But I'm sure people didn't like me, right? And I'm sure they didn't like, I didn't like everyone. And that's just the case, right? Like how many hundreds of baseball players did I interact with and come across? Same thing at work, same thing at college, same thing in high school. You always have to be around people you might not get along the best with, but especially on a sports team, you just got to learn how to deal with it. And that's a huge skill, right? Like you're able to, yeah, it goes back to the adversity thing. But yeah, great call out.
I would say, just to jump in on that, like in terms of working, right? It's not even just liking someone, but having different styles of working. And I think when you're playing sports, right, everyone trains a little differently, everyone behaves a little bit differently on the field. But that really does translate to my everyday role in the office. There are some people who, you know, as a manager, I know I have to manage them differently than I do with others. And I think that's a skill that I picked up by playing sports. And it's not an easy skill, right, to learn, to like have to deal with different personalities, but it's just part of, like, I think that's how you become successful in the corporate world, right? Is just being able to maintain relationships regardless of how each individual works within the larger organization.
Caroline, if I could just piggyback on that.
Yeah, I
real
was about
quick.
to.
Of just, you know, you bring up working with different individuals, but also the importance of being involved in multiple sports as well, and being working with different coaches can also kind of help create that diverse experience of you know, you're not always going to like your coach, you're not always going to agree with them. And sometimes having those different individuals in leadership positions teaches you that ability to develop flexibility, to be able to adapt, to be able to kind of go with the flow a little bit and adjust to those different needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I throughout my soccer playing career, even softball, I definitely had different coaches where, you know, some had a greater level of skill in that sport than others. And that's exactly it, right? There were times where I had a coach who wasn't the most motivating and made me want, and, you know, I debated quitting, but my love for the game made me, you know, stick with it. And that is a skill that I kind of take through today, right? Like, for instance, I had a difficult day with my, you know, getting emails from my CEO and COO trying to get a response, but it's just like, okay, we're going to persevere. We're going to find the right response and we're going to move forward. And that was today. We got it done, and we'll move on to the next tomorrow.
Hey, Ellie, I think you said something about your scores or your academic performance is best when you're participating in athletics. Is there ever been a time where your academics took a hit because you're, you know, so involved with athletics during your youth or your high school or your college playing years, where, and anybody else can chime in as well. So
Yeah, I think for me personally, No, but that also comes off of another soft skill that like you develop from sports, which is having like very active communication with your coach. So this can be applied to like so many different examples when you go into the work world or when you go into college, of being able to talk with professors or talk with your boss about tough situations. So I know like when I've had really hard academic times and I'm still finding myself, having those times in college, I'm able to start a dialogue with my coach and have a conversation and kind of work out a solution and compromise to ensure that I'm not sacrificing one for the other. I think that there have definitely been periods where, you are kind of dipping and you really struggle, but I think having teammates to pick you up and kind of leaning into your team or leaning into your leadership is super helpful. So for me, I definitely have experienced like very intense, high pressure academic situations as a result of being so busy with sports. But they've all been situations that I've fortunately been able to work out through like very active communication and being able to rely on my teammates.
Thank you. Going back to youth sports, and this is for everybody in the group. Can we share, like, how did you get involved with youth sports? Like, what were your parents into it? Was it kids at school? Was it, what was the event that caused you to want to start playing baseball or soccer or whatever it is you're participating in at a young age?
I can chime in here. So I have an older sister, so she was about 5.5, 6 years older than me. So she was involved in a lot of youth sports in our area, like softball, basketball, all of that. So when I was 5, my dad grew up playing a lot of sports. I think he played baseball, football, a couple other sports. So when I was 5, he kind of just threw me into the little league. It wasn't much of a choice. Not that I didn't want to do it, but he was like, "You're gonna play softball." I was like, "Okay, cool." But I think that I'm super grateful for that decision. Obviously, I mean, at that young of an age, I think it's a natural thing that a lot of parents do, is to put their kids in sports. But I think one of the reasons why I stuck with it and why I kept doing it through middle and high school was really the friendships that I made through youth sports, and the way that it became such a big part of my life, and honestly a passion of mine. Like, I just loved going to softball every single day and like trying to get better and like trying to beat my opponent. I got really competitive with it. And I also remember being on my first little league team. I was the only girl on the team, and it was all the rest were boys, and it was a t-ball team. So I think that kind of added to it. I was like, oh, I'm so cool, like I'm the only girl here, whatever. But yeah, I think a lot of that. I think when you start a sport early, I think it's really easy and very natural to develop a passion for it. And I'm really lucky that I did develop a passion for softball, and I just grew to love it so much. And I just had so much fun out there. I mean, sitting in a classroom and learning is great, but being out on the field with your best friends playing a sport, I mean, I just think there's nothing like it. And I think that's what really kept me going.
Vincenzo, we haven't heard from you so far. Could you share with us your how you got started with soccer at a young age, and
Yeah, so for me, soccer's been my whole life, right? You get a lot of athletes where, they were very involved in various sports throughout their life, which kept them very active. And then some that were just so keen on one and passionate about one and were able to, take it as far as they were able to. For me, it was I was kind of just born with it, right? Ever since I was able to just walk, I was always kicking something, and that's just something I was born with in my family. There's, soccer players of generations, so that's how I got involved right away. I played rec for West Windsor when I was like 4, and then, went through the club system there, playing in high school, and then so on and so forth, right? As far as I was able to. But I guess the thing for me, which, was so big, was that it gave me a sense of identity. It was a purpose, right? I feel like, everybody is put on the, the world or the planet for a reason, right? And from a young age, I thought that was, what I was going to be involved in, whether I was lucky enough to play it at a high level or now I work in it. I'm a coach. I'm a US licensed coach. So, for me, one way or another, I knew this was something I was going to make a life out of. So having played on very early at the youth level and being able to kind of cultivate who I became over time and giving a sense of, like I said, identity and purpose, helping me feel confident going into, college and things like that was big time for me and helping me kind of, sort out who I wanted to become. So that's kind of how it helped me.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Sam, do you mind? Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I think no 4 or 5-year-old, maybe Vincenzo's the exception, will kind of immediately indicate to their parents that they should be in rec soccer, right? I think the onus is very much so on the parent to get the child involved in said sport. Because like, how is a 4 or 5-year-old going to do that on their own, right? And especially for me, my parents put me in pretty much every sport. I swam, I did golf, I quit both of those. I t-ball, I was good at that one, so I kept playing that one. I like rec basketball, so I kept playing rec. But they put me in pretty much every single one. They also made me play viola, right? So it's like they put me in the full spectrum of things and said, you know, we want you to pursue all your talents and make you good at everything you can be good at. And, you know, slowly over time, you start to specialize, right? And that's what happened. But specifically to answer your question, you know, Jeff, of how to get involved, it's on the parents to, you know, take that leap of faith, say, hey, regardless of my kid might get hurt a little bit, my kid might go through some tough times, but there's so many benefits to going through, you know, the athletics process, you know, learning how to win, like I said, learning how to lose, learning how to, even more importantly, develop your talent, right? Like, you don't even know you're good at something unless you're given that opportunity, you know, by the parents at this age, right? Like, that's probably the most important aspect of sports, I would say, like training, that the mindset one has to be to train, right? Because you're already good at something, but you want to be better. And that's something that, you know, requires a lot of willpower, and we only have so much. So youth sports is what, at least through the lens of my life, is what, you know, trains me to use X% of that willpower to get myself better every day, even now.
To piggyback on that, you know, same thing. I got into soccer because my father played soccer. I had an older sister, so I played. Growing up, I lived in front of the Little League field, so it only made sense. My parents worked. I just walked back to my backyard and played softball. And then at one point, when I decided to switch from softball to lacrosse, it was to be with friends. But what I'll have to say for, you know, what I'm seeing as a parent, you know, as I've gotten older, I still play soccer, but I've also taken up running, and my husband also runs. And it's funny because a couple years ago, we did the Mercer County Turkey Trot, and he was 6 or 7 years old at the time. You know, he's like, "Hey, mom and dad, I want to run the 5K." And I was like, "I don't think you've ever run 3 miles before, kiddo. I don't know if you want to do this." He's like, "It's fine, I'll walk." Turns out he beat all of us, right? So it's also that he's seen us be, and I think this also talks to one of the slides, right? We are a very active family, and so my kids see what we're doing and they want to participate in that. So really that's because of the youth sports and us just wanting to continue to be healthy and go out there and also have that example for our kids. And yes, my son beats me every year now in a 5K race, and he's 9.
Yeah, one more
Same club, so
thing
don't
to
worry.
yeah, one more thing to piggyback kind of off what Sam said. It's a little bit off topic in a sense, but I think it's important. And he said like all the things he did, all the different sports and how he played viola, like that's how my parents were with me. And I do think like especially the younger you are, it just play as many different sports as you can, because for me and from my experience, each sport like kind of inherently taught me different things just based off my skills in them and how much I liked them. Just for me, like my family was a soccer family. I was the only baseball player. My sister played at University of Alabama. My dad's from Italy, so we're a soccer family through and through. I don't really know how I found baseball, but I was always playing soccer, and I hate running. Like I absolutely hate running, but I played soccer from when I was a kid, and I enjoyed the game of soccer. I just hated getting in shape for it. And I played from all the way through till high school, like till my junior or senior year when I really got serious about baseball. And all those years that taught me like I need to get in shape for this and I have to do something I don't want to do. And I didn't want to run all the time. I didn't want to run the miles to get in shape, but I did it anyway instead of quitting, which taught me that. Baseball, on the other hand, taught me like how to deal with failure, like right off the bat. That's like the major thing baseball taught me. Sam knows like you fail more in that sport than anything else. You can do everything right, make the perfect swing, still get out. It's a very frustrating sport, and that wasn't what soccer taught me at all. So I was getting different lessons from different sports. Even if you play them for a couple years, you're going to learn something. The more things you do, you will take something away from them, regardless if you're good at them or enjoy them. I just think getting as many different sports and then doing it for as long as you can is definitely going to help.
I think you bring up some really good points about trying different things because, as I look at my own child, we got him into soccer because that was kind of the natural fit of his friends were playing. I played soccer growing up. It kind of worked really well together. But that was a lead in. And now we're starting to find things where he's becoming a little bit more independent and starting to branch out on his own. So having the friends there to kind of help start it, and then they start to kind of figure out what they like to do. And it really should be about trying new things and finding what your passion is, and where you want to kind of go with that.
Yeah, I think that, I did play sports in high school. I wasn't very good, but I played sports and I knew I wanted my kids to play sports. And that's exactly for what Sam said. They're not going to sit around all day doing nothing. And every season, we've always been a baseball family because my son from the age of 2 would just throw a ball all day long. And so we signed him up for t-ball at the age of 4 and he just loved it. But every season they play wrestling, they play basketball, they also take music lessons, and they're also really good about doing their homework, right? They know that when they get home from school, and they're 4th and 5th grade now, when they get home from school, they have an hour to get their work done because then we have to go to practice. And then so it's really I'm so impressed with what that's taught them at a very young age about how to be responsible and get their work done so that they could do something that they love. And they don't always love going to practice, but they have to learn commitment. And you signed up to do this with your team, you need to go. I know you're tired, but you need to go. I know that you had a long day at school and you've been doing your homework, but it's time to get out there and go wrestle or go play basketball. So I do truly believe that as parents, we have a responsibility to help our kids develop all these skills that they don't always get in school, right? That's my job. I send them to school to learn certain things, and then my job is to help them, grow. So that's been my experience, as with my kids. And I know Allie's dad threw her into everything.
No, he would never. He would never.
No, never. Allie played 6 sports in one season. I'm convinced.
All right, so we've gotten a chance to hear about all of the different benefits of being part of youth sports programs. Heather and Caroline and Vincenzo as representatives from some of our youth sports programs within the West Windsor-Plainsboro area. Can you please share some of the opportunities that students and caregivers and families have an opportunity to become a part of currently?
Sure. Okay, I'll go. I was looking at Caroline. I wasn't sure which one's going first. So, as you know, West Windsor Little League is starting our spring season. So we offer baseball and softball to kids ages 4 up through 16 now. We are a 501c3 volunteer organization. So we love to have our parents get involved, coach your kids, be part of that journey with them and build that bond. We have, our season is starting in March, a few weeks away. So have registration open right now. and we will go through the end of June. And we have a lot of great things that we do as a community. Our players walk in the West Windsor Memorial Day Parade. We have a Trenton Thunder game we're going to attend. We're taking our players up to Yankee Stadium, and they're going to get to parade on the field. And we have our open house day on April 6th, which is open to the community. So I encourage everyone who's not involved in Little League, if you want to see what we're all about, come out to our open house on April 6th and see our fields out on North Post Road and learn about us. And, you know, you can sign up even in April if you wanted to. Go ahead, Carolyn.
So the nice thing about WWPSA is our mission is that there is a place to play soccer for anyone who wants to, no matter what your competitive level, right? So I run our travel program, which, you know, where Vincenzo's involved coaching the kids, but that's, you know, we don't just have travel. We have a rec program for kids who can't commit the, you know, 2 days a week, an hour and a half plus games traveling. So we have rec, we have programs for 3-year-olds all the way up through 18. So, you know, for a little 3-year-old, 3, 4, and 5s, it's just Saturday mornings, getting out there, getting some, you know, learning about the game and having fun and hopefully developing the love for the sport. And then we even, for the kids who want like an in-between of rec and travel, but still want to get like a professional level of teaching that you would get from, you know, Coach Vincenzo, we have something called TDA, which is just, it's called their Technical Development Academy. So you're going out there really just practicing, and then you can take those skills that you learned at practice and apply it to your rec games during the week. Similar to Little League, we are very much a volunteer organization. Our rec program cannot function without our parent volunteers as coaches, but also with field setups and everything else. You know, me personally, my goal as a woman who grew up playing in WWPSA, the level isn't and the size isn't where it used to be when I was playing. So I personally am trying to grow our girls program. You know, I was on a call today with Gotham FC to see if we can have a day out to go see the women's game to help promote the game. So, you know, we have a lot of options. We have a new website if anyone wants to learn about it, but also you can just email anyone on the board and we're happy to provide additional information. Vincenzo, did I mess anything up there?
Is there information on the West Windsor recreation page and Plainsboro recreation page? Where would be the best place to go to get this information? Kind of a one-stop shopping look for things.
I think for both
yeah,
go
we're
ahead.
both separate. Yeah, neither of our organizations are going to be on community ed because we run separate from, or sorry, from community rec. So
Okay.
for us, it's wwll.org is our website, so everyone can learn information from there. You could also reach out to me, which is president@wwll.org. And Carolyn can give their site.
Yeah, we're the same thing. It's just wwpsa.org. You can, Ryan, who was on the call before, he had to drop off because he had to coach. Same thing, president at WWPSA or travel, but all of our like contact information is available on the website. You know, our board members are all also volunteers. So we try to get, you know, respond as quickly as possible, but we definitely, you know, but we rely on volunteers. So not always the quickest turnaround, but I think the website does give a lot of information.
Right. The other way to learn more about sports and the programs within our community is looking at the recreation page. I know that there are multiple summer camp options that are going to be posted soon, but also coming out to some of the athletic events for either High School North or High School South, seeing some of our student athletes in action. Our athletic program is definitely one that is doing well. And we really encourage, you know, as many people to come out and support our schools, support our student athletes, but also find ways to get involved within our schools' athletic events. All right. Any last words for our attendees tonight as we kind of wrap things up?
I saw a few questions that I think I can answer in the chat. I think that if your child has not done a sport yet and you feel that they're on the older side, it's not too late. If your child didn't play sports during COVID because there were no sports going on, it's not too late. It is never too late to join a sport. I mean, Ben said he played soccer up to, through high school, right? It is never too late. So, get out there, get your kids out there. I also would say that the commitment varies by each level. I think for rec programs, especially for soccer, for Little League, we certainly have kids who are involved in lots of other programs, and it's okay if you can't make every day. Don't let that be a reason that your kids don't do a sport. They're the parent volunteers, the coaches in both our programs and all the programs that in our town are very good about, understanding that people have lives outside of sports. So, I highly encourage everyone to get out there and get your kids out there. I think that most of the things that were in the chat.
And just to jump in on that, one thing is, and we didn't talk about this, it also brings a sense of community youth sports, right? So I have met Heather because our kids play in the same sports, although they may be on different age groups. So, to Heather's point, like if you can't make it, you spend a lot of time with these people, you're able to get rides, and you just feel like you're part of something bigger, which I think is also really nice work and living in a town like this. And I just want to say thank you for having us and everyone logging in and, wanting to listen to our experience that we've shared with you guys today.
I just wanted to answer one of the questions in the chat that I saw. It was about, the question was like, did you have to drop some of the rigorous courses in school to manage your sport? And how did you manage like the pressure at Windsor-Plainsboro? I think like we can all, whoever of us like attended Windsor-Plainsboro can definitely speak to this, that the pressure definitely does build up in high school. I think like around college application season and stuff, like it is a pretty competitive environment, and it's a very rigorous school district, which is both a good and a bad thing. In terms of having to drop academic courses for softball specifically, I did feel like I had to balance it for sure. I mean, I didn't want to go absolutely crazy on my academic schedule and as a result not be able to devote enough time or energy to softball. So there is that balancing act for sure. But at the same time, I think that our school district does allow you to pursue both at a high level. And I think that like all of the teachers I had in high school were very understanding when I had to leave every other Friday to go to a tournament or whatever it was. So yeah, I think that the pressure can build up, but I think I viewed softball as kind of like my outlet to that. Honestly, it was a great source of physical activity, of friendship, and I think it was a really great escape from the pressure-filled situations of school normally. So yeah, just wanted to answer that question.
Okay. And then I am going to do one kind of quick plug for the high school and middle school athletic programs. Our registration is currently open. Our high school registration is going to be closing on February 26th, I believe. And then our middle school registration is going to be closing March 1st. And you would sign up through the parent portal of Genesis. Yeah, we really encourage everyone to participate, find a way to get involved within our athletic programs here at WWP.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, panelists and alum.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Have a good night.
Night.